The discovery Maya Chen wiped the sweat from her forehead with the back of her gloved hand, leaving a streak of grease across her dark skin. The asteroid mining station's life support systems had been failing for 3 days now, and she was the only engineer left on Outpost Delta 7. The evacuation ships had departed 2 weeks ago, but Maya had volunteered to stay behind to salvage what equipment she could before the corporate overlords rode off the entire operation. At 28, Maya had spent most of her adult life crawling through the guts of machinery that others had given up on. Born on Mars colony to parents who ran a small repair shop, she'd learned early that human ingenuity could make almost anything work, even when it wasn't supposed to. Her compact frame and quick mind had made her invaluable in the outer rim mining operations, where spare parts were scarce and creativity was essential for survival. The asteroid beneath her feet shuddered, a low rumble that she felt in her bones rather than heard. Maya paused in her work on the atmospheric processor, listening. That wasn't the usual grinding of the mining equipment or the settling of the station's superstructure. This was something else entirely. She grabbed her portable scanner and headed for the observation deck. Through the reinforced viewport, she could see the scarred surface of the asteroid stretching away into darkness. But something was wrong. Where there should have been empty rock and the skeletal remains of mining equipment, there was now a massive shadow embedded in the asteroid's surface. Maya activated the external floodlights and gasped. Jutting from the asteroid like a metallic growth was the hull of a ship unlike anything she'd ever seen. Its surface was smooth and organic-looking, with curved lines that seemed to flow like water frozen in time. The metal itself appeared to shift color in the artificial light, cycling through deep purples and blues that reminded her of an oil slick. The ship was enormous, easily 3 times the size of the largest human vessels she'd worked on. What she could see protruding from the asteroid suggested that most of the craft was buried deep within the rock. The impact must have been tremendous, yet the visible hull showed no signs of damage. Maya's mind raced with possibilities. This was clearly alien technology, the first confirmed alien artifact humanity had ever discovered. The corporate executives who'd abandoned this station would sell their own mothers for a chance to examine something like this. But they weren't here. She was. She spent the next hour taking detailed scans and photographs. The ship's hull was composed of materials that didn't appear in any database she had access to. The metals seemed to absorb certain frequencies of electromagnetic radiation while reflecting others in patterns that suggested an active, responsive surface. Whatever this thing was, it was far beyond current human technology. Maya made her decision. The mining station was doomed anyway, its life support systems too damaged to repair with the resources she had available. But this ship might offer a way off the asteroid, assuming she could figure out how to make it work. Human colonies had been built on less promising foundations than alien technology and human stubbornness. The next morning, Maya suited up in her environmental gear and made her way across the asteroid's surface to the crash site. Up close, the ship was even more impressive. The hull rose above her like a metallic cliff, its surface rippling with subtle patterns that seemed to respond to her presence. When she placed her gloved hand against the metal, it warmed slightly, and the patterns shifted toward her touch. Finding an entrance proved easier than expected. As she circled the exposed portion of the hull, a section simply dilated open like an iris, revealing a softly lit corridor beyond. Maya hesitated for only a moment before stepping inside. The atmosphere was breathable according to her suit's sensors, though she kept her helmet sealed as a precaution. The interior of the ship was as alien as its exterior. The corridors were wider than necessary for human proportions, with curved walls that met the floor and ceiling in smooth transitions. There were no right angles anywhere, creating a space that felt organic despite being clearly artificial. Soft bioluminescent strips provided gentle illumination, and the air hummed with the barely perceptible vibration of active systems. Maya followed the main corridor deeper into the ship, her boots silent on the smooth floor. Whatever materials the aliens used for construction, they absorbed sound as effectively as they managed light. The deeper she went, the more convinced she became that the ship's systems were still functional. The lights responded to her presence, brightening as she approached and dimming after she passed. The air circulation was active, and she could feel the subtle variations in pressure that indicated a functioning life support system at the heart of the ship. She found what could only be the command center. The space was dominated by a series of curved control surfaces that emerged from the floor like mushrooms, their surfaces covered in symbols that shifted and rearranged themselves as she watched. In the center of the room was a raised platform with what appeared to be a pilot station, though it was clearly designed for beings much larger than humans. Maya approached the central console cautiously. As she drew near, the symbols on its surface began to pulse with increased intensity. She could see patterns in their arrangement, suggestions of logical structure that reminded her of the programming languages she'd learned as a child. Mathematics and engineering followed universal principles. After all, if she could understand the underlying logic, she might be able to interface with the ship's systems. She pulled out her portable computer and began documenting everything she could see. The symbols, their arrangements, the way they responded to her presence. She photographed the control surfaces from every angle and ran electromagnetic scans to try to understand how the interfaces functioned. Hours passed as Maya worked to decode the alien systems. Gradually, patterns began to emerge. The symbols weren't entirely random. They followed mathematical relationships that she could recognize even if she couldn't read them directly. It was like trying to understand a new programming language by examining its compiled code. But Maya had done stranger things in her career. As the station's day cycle shifted toward evening, Maya made her first breakthrough by touching one of the control surfaces in a specific sequence based on the mathematical patterns she'd observed. She managed to activate what appeared to be a diagnostic display. The entire command center came alive with flowing patterns of light, and she heard the deep hum of systems powering up throughout the ship. Maya grinned despite herself. She'd done it. She'd successfully interfaced with alien technology using nothing but human ingenuity and stubborn determination. Whatever this ship was originally designed for, she was going to make it work for her. She had to. It was her only way home. The ship's awakening was unlike anything Maya had expected. As the systems came online, the command center transformed around her. The curved surfaces began displaying what were clearly holographic projections, 3D images that hung in the air without any visible source. The symbols she'd been studying were replaced by flowing charts and diagrams that pulsed with their own internal logic. Maya stepped back as the central platform began to rise, revealing additional control interfaces that had been hidden beneath the floor. The ship was rebuilding itself around her, or perhaps remembering its original configuration. She felt a moment of panic as she realized she might have awakened something beyond her understanding or control. Then a voice spoke in the command center, low and resonant, speaking in a language that sounded like music played through electronic filters. Maya's translation software couldn't make sense of it, but the tone was unmistakably questioning. The ship was trying to communicate with her. Maya pulled out her portable computer again and activated its universal translation protocols. The software had been designed for human languages, but its underlying algorithms were based on mathematical principles that should work with any logical communication system. She hoped. "Hello," she said aloud, feeling slightly foolish. "I'm Maya Chen. I'm a human engineer. I've found your ship crashed in this asteroid." The ship fell silent for a long moment. Then the voice spoke again, and this time her translation software began offering fragmentary interpretations. Gratitude, ... Assistance, systems damaged. Repair needed, ... Maya felt a surge of excitement. The alien intelligence was not only trying to communicate with her, it seemed grateful for her help. This was beyond her wildest dreams, the first confirmed communication between humans and alien intelligence. "Can you understand me?" Maya asked. "Understanding grows," the voice replied, the translation becoming clearer as the ship's systems analyzed her speech patterns. "Your mathematics, crude but functional. Your repair work adequate despite primitive tools." Maya bristled slightly at being called primitive, but she supposed from the perspective of beings who could build ships like this, human technology probably did seem basic. "What is your ship's designation? What's your purpose?" "I am designated Void Reaper," the voice responded. "Primary function, reconnaissance and tactical assessment." The name sent a chill down Maya's spine. Void Reaper didn't sound like the designation of a peaceful exploration vessel. It sounded military and specifically designed for destruction. But perhaps the translation was imperfect, or the name had cultural connotations she didn't understand. Reconnaissance of what? Maya asked carefully. Target species evaluation, threat assessment, resource cataloging. The ship's responses were becoming more fluid as its translation algorithms improved. "Your intervention has restored primary systems to 47% functionality. Gratitude is acknowledged." Maya felt her excitement beginning to turn to unease. The ship was talking about target, species and threat assessment. In her experience, military terminology like that usually meant someone was planning to attack someone else. "What species are you reconnoitering?" "Primary target designation, Homo sapiens. Stellar coordinates match database. Confirmation of technological capabilities in progress." The blood drained from Maya's face. The ship was scouting humanity. It was gathering intelligence on human technology, human defenses, human weaknesses. And she had just helped it restore its systems. "Why are you gathering intelligence on humans?" Maya asked, though she was beginning to suspect she already knew the answer. "Preparatory phase for territorial expansion. Your species occupies 17 systems within designated expansion zone. Threat level assessment required before implementation of acquisition protocols." Maya sat down heavily on the nearest surface, her legs suddenly weak. Acquisition protocols. The alien ship was part of an invasion force, and she had just helped it repair itself. The implications were staggering. Humanity had just made first contact with an alien species, and that species was planning to conquer or destroy them. How long until these acquisition protocols begin? Maya asked, her voice barely steady. "Dependent on completion of reconnaissance phase. Current mission parameters require detailed analysis of 17 human colonies plus primary world designation, Earth. Estimated completion time with restored systems, 14 solar rotations of local star. 14 days. Maya's repairs had given the alien reconnaissance ship enough power to complete its intelligence-gathering mission in 2 weeks. After that, presumably, the invasion force would arrive to begin the conquest of humanity. Maya forced herself to think clearly. Panic wouldn't help anyone, and she was possibly the only human who knew about the impending invasion. She needed to understand exactly what she was dealing with and figure out how to stop it. "Void Reaper," she said carefully, "show me your current mission status." The command center filled with holographic displays showing star charts, tactical analyses, and what were clearly intelligence reports on human colonies. Maya recognized several of the systems, including her home on Mars and the mining operations in the Outer Rim. The level of detail was terrifying. The aliens knew about human population centers, industrial capacity, military installations, and defensive capabilities. Worse, the intelligence was recent. Some of the data was less than a month old, meaning the aliens had been watching humanity for an extended period. This wasn't a chance encounter or a recent discovery. It was the culmination of a long-term surveillance operation. "How long have your people been observing humans?" Maya asked. Observation phase initiated 47 local solar cycles ago. Passive monitoring established baseline technological progression rates. Recent acceleration in human expansion rates triggered advancement to active reconnaissance phase. 47 years. The aliens had been watching humanity since before Maya was born, cataloging human development and waiting for the right moment to strike. The recent expansion of human colonies into the Outer Rim had apparently convinced them that humanity was becoming enough of a threat to require elimination or subjugation. Maya studied the holographic displays more carefully. The tactical analyses showed detailed assessments of human military capabilities, including the locations of naval bases, the specifications of human warships, and even personnel evaluations of key military leaders. The level of intelligence was comprehensive enough to give the aliens an overwhelming advantage in any conflict, but there was something else in the displays that caught her attention. Error messages and diagnostic warnings were scattered throughout the tactical reports. The ship's systems were flagging inconsistencies and data gaps in the intelligence. Maya realized that the crash had damaged more than just the ship's power. Systems, its databases were corrupted, and some of its sensor arrays were malfunctioning. "Void Reaper," she said, an idea beginning to form. "What is your current operational status?" Primary systems restored to 47% functionality through human assistance. Sensor arrays operating at 34% efficiency. Communication systems severely damaged. Navigation compromised. Mission completion possible but suboptimal. Maya felt a spark of hope. The ship was damaged, possibly more severely than she'd initially realized. Its intelligence was incomplete, its sensors were malfunctioning, and it couldn't communicate with its command structure. She had an opportunity here, but she would have to be very careful how she used it. "I could help you repair more systems," Maya offered. "I've already proven I can work with your technology." Human assistance would optimize mission completion time and effectiveness. Cooperation benefits both parties. Human will be transported safely to designated relocation facility upon mission completion. Maya doubted that the alien definition of relocation facility was anything she would want to experience. But for now, the ship believed she was being helpful. She needed to maintain that impression while she figured out how to sabotage the mission without getting herself killed. In the process, "I'll need access to your technical databases," Maya said, "to understand your systems well enough to repair them properly." Access granted. Human Maya Chen designated as temporary maintenance personnel. Technical specifications unlocked. The holographic displays changed, showing detailed schematics of the ship's systems. Maya pretended to study them while her mind raced with possibilities. She was looking at the most advanced technology humanity had ever encountered, and she needed to find a way to turn it against its creators. The fate of her entire species might depend on her ability to outthink an alien intelligence using tools she barely understood. But Maya Chen had built her career on making impossible repairs with inadequate resources. She'd learned long ago that human creativity and determination could overcome almost any technical challenge. She just hoped that would be enough to save humanity from the Void Reaper and whatever was coming behind it.